Laplagne in France, and the final visit to the 1992 Albertville Games sliding centre with its 19 corners in 1,500 metres. It's going to be really tough to thread a four-man bobsleigh down here fast, but that is the challenge that awaits our athletes. Well, there's a great view down on the bottom of the track and little hamlet of Le Rocheau. They used to race down this valley to Le Rocheau 100 years ago, long before the bobsleigh track was ever built, and that's why it's still here. Well, we're in the shadow of the fabulous Mont Blanc and a beautiful afternoon. The clouds have cleared, the overnight low brought a little bit of snow, and it is beautifully sunny and crisp. But our drivers will be focused 100% on these 19 corners. The short straights involved make it a really busy track. One of the longest is this, almost completely flat. The start area barely goes over a crest as you run out of the drive lines down into turn one. Start record, Martin Annan set it back in January 2002. That's quite some age, not as old as the two-man start record, but rules have changed since that was set by Christoph Langen many decades ago. Early start part of the track, very easy to give your speed away, down to corner 6 here, and then building up speed through 7, 8, and then this tough transition out of 9 and into 10. Looks quite easy from the onboard. From outside, you see just what an abrupt transition that is. Causes a lot of problems, as does the skids down here into 15. And then into corner 16. Big pressure, drop down out of it, and then pick up the pace later on as well. This is 16 here. Up and down, trying to get a clean exit, because 17 and then 18 are the last downhill corners. Now we start to go uphill into corner 19. So the last 200-300 meters are uphill to the finish line, just there. And that's where the speed disappears. If you've made mistakes early on, you can still look good down to 14 or 15, and then it all comes to catch up with you. Well, Johannes Lochner is our World Cup points leader, won the season opener in Beijing, and he won the second race as well. Francesco Friedrich and Patrick Baumgartner have a silver medal apiece. Baumgartner taking silver in the second race in Beijing 3 weeks ago. Was it 4 now? Seems like a long time. And he was ahead of Francesco Friedrich on that occasion, but Lochner with both wins. Lochner with a win in the two-man competition as well in Beijing, but lost out to Mickey Vogt. There's Vogt. He took the two-man gold yesterday, his first two-man win. Well, Francesco Friedrich, as ever, super combative, super competent, and his crew will be looking for their first win of the season. Seems very strange to say that. This is the third four-man race of the year, and Friedrich has yet to win one. He's yet to win in two-man as well, but we'll gloss over that. Well, Friedrich will go out 7th. Simon Friedli will be first on the ice, and we're joined by half a dozen sleds who were not in in China. Adam Amour, Adam Debesh, Mattia Variola, Dominic Dvorak, Frank Del Duca, and also Mihai Tentea. Race number 3 of the BMW IBSF 4-man bobsleigh World Cup. We've moved on from the double race weekend in Beijing to Laplagne in France. Simon Friedli with Pascal Moser, Luca Rolli and Andreas Haas. Our start record: Martin Annan, Silvio Schaufelberger, Beat Hefty and Cedric Gron. What a crew that was. 573, 591. We haven't seen the 2-man sleds get close to the start record. We may not see the 4-man either. Well, Mihai, 10th and 11th in the 2 4-man races in Beijing. He's had a 6th and an 8th place finish in the 2-man races so far this season. Early on, trying to keep things as neat and tidy as possible. It's a lot of sled to thread down through some of these tight transitions. 6 kilometers an hour, just a little under 70 miles an hour, little tap on the inside there, big oscillation. Shades are down because it is a very bright sunny afternoon. Track's covered all the way down, so none of the snow or ice or rain even that came down yesterday evening has got into the track. And across the line, 58.60. Again, the downtime record, 57.31. That dates back to last century. Christoph Langen, Marco Jacobs, Thomas Platzer and Sven Ruhr again. You know, legendary lineup for Langen. And that was in December 98, the year after the Nagano Games. Well, let's take a look at getting these 4 big men. Okay, see, Simon Friedli looks up and then, no, still not time to get in. Puts another 2 or 3 steps in. It is such a long run. Normally there'll be maybe a dozen steps or 13 or something. Here you're kind of up to 20. It just goes on forever. Does not build speed down the hill either. So the brakemen are really straining. Look at that, trying to get the sled round that transition, bumped up in the air. All right, well, let's see where we go to. Next up is the first 4-man start of the year for Mihai Tentea. Constantin Dinescu, Mihai Pakianu, the former skeleton slider at 3, and Georg Jordash, who was on the back of the 2-man sled yesterday. He's on the back of the... Is that Georg on the back of the 4-man? Trying to figure out if that's actually Mihai on the back. 6:03, away we go. So let's see what Mihai can produce. 2 Mihais in the sled. Mihai Tentea, the driver, Mihai Pakianu, the brakeman, whose dad, incidentally, is the trainer of the team. May or may not have had something to do with the fact that he's come across to bobsleigh rather than staying in skeleton. 2700s back. It's not about perhaps being at the top of the pile here. This is a track that very few drivers really know well. Good speed though, look at that, 110.5. Nice stuff. Well, Romania had a big day yesterday in women's monobob. Andrea Greco claimed her first ever World Cup monobob medal, bronze. I'm a surprise winner. Keisha Love, none more surprised than her, by the way. And Melanie Hassler across the line, only 2200s back. That's really good. Bravo. Don't stick your hand out. Don't grab things when you're going by. You feel like you're going very slowly. You're not. Or rip your arm out of its sockets. 58.82. Teaching my grandmother to suck eggs here, aren't I? So we saw Giulio Pakianu in the coach's box. There he is at the top of the track in the bobble hat on the right at the back. His son at 3. That's on the right-hand side as the crew see it. And he has to get in and sit down after the brakeman and before number 2. So your legs go around the athlete in front of you. Oh, look, little counter correction there with the runners, just a little runner check. That's a trick to stop the sled sliding. There's Mihai, yeah, all panting and puffing here. Takes a long time to get your breath back in 1800 meters. Steaming like racehorse, Marcus Treichel with Marcus Sammer, Sasha Stepan and Christian Huber. Benny Meyer's old crew. Say hi to Benny and to Elizabeth. See them, I'm sure, in Innsbruck next week. 9th and 7th in Beijing in the 4-man. Let's see if he's got another top 10 run in him here. Finished in 10th place yesterday in the 2-man. 5.97, only 600ths off Simon Friedli. It's a good starting crew. And Marcus Treichel really had a good start to the season. His handle hasn't snapped quite back in. You can see it just flapping around a little bit. You can see all the holes drilled through it. That's for lightness and also for aerodynamics. Not that it's supposed to be out, but it means it won't cause too much extra drag. Second on the splits, 1500ths of a second back, second best speed. See if he can find something at the bottom here. 1700ths, barely getting left behind by Simon Friedli. 16 out of 18, here we go. Oh, long drift. It's going to cost him another few hundreds uphill to the finish line. I was going to say probably about 2/10 back. 58.77 is 1700ths back. See how much mass of the 4-man sled rushes up into the station here. Yeah. The mechanism is, there's a little pin. You either pull the pin or push a button that disconnects the pin and then it snaps down into place. It hasn't, obviously, so something's got slightly bent in the push, probably. And when it got dragged on the ice, the bunks stick out too far for that. Little late exit there, rolling off late. Didn't get on too badly, didn't get the bump that we saw from Simon Friedli's crew. But this long skid from 18 to 19, coming up to the camera, you are actually coming uphill there to the camera. So they're going to have a little look at that. There's Marcus Treichel, big smile on his face. There's some big smiles on the faces of the Italians. 6th place in the first 4-man race of the weekend for Patrick Baumgartner in Beijing. That was a great improvement on his Olympic position. And then silver. People saying afterwards, well, it wasn't a full field. Hello, had Hansi Lochner and Francesco Frigi, the Olympic champion. It was a good field. And to be between them, only beaten by Lochner, who's beaten everybody this season, that was a great result. So let's see if these guys can build on that confidence. Don't know the track well, like most. I mean, we say that a lot, but we're probably just going to have to take that as read from now on. But Baumgartner, with that confidence, had a decent run in the 4-man, in the 2-man here yesterday, 7th place in a bigger field than there was in Beijing when he was 4th. And the extra speed at the start that he gets in the 4-man doesn't hurt either. 100th back, was level, now 700ths back. Only 3rd best speed behind Simon Friedli and Marcus Treichel at that stage. If he's 4th at the line, ahead, or 3rd at the line, ahead of Mihai Tentea, then that will probably translate into a top 10 after the end of the first heat. But I wonder how up. 1200ths back, 2nd place, ahead of Marcus Treichel. Kept it clean at the bottom. Little rip of applause there from Simone Bertazzo. 58.72. So 500ths ahead of Marcus Treichel. That sort of represents where they've been. He has been 2 or 3 spots ahead of Marcus Treichel in the 4-man all season long. Having a good start to the year, Patrick Baumgartner. He was the first ever boys youth Olympic champion in boys bobsleigh back in 2012. It's taken a while for him to really start to produce the goods. And I really do hope for him and the Italian programme that this upward curve carries on. Manny Mahata there at the front of the sled, he'll be hoping for that as well, trying to build that confidence in the crew. You can do it. Look, you've just done it. Go out and do it again. And this is how you do. Next up, Li Chunjian of China. Wei Peng is on our right-hand side there, the left of the sled at 2. Chu Zilong at 3. And then Wu Jin-si, who was on the back of the 2-man sled, he's the big guy in the middle on the brakes at 4. Synchronising that start, getting all 4 men to hit their handles at the same time. Oh, driver didn't get in cleanly, nor did the brakeman. 6:01. They might have to look again at how many steps they're running. Lee Chun-jan was not in cleanly, and danger lies there. That's what cost Johannes Lochner victory yesterday, broke his streak of wins. He didn't get in, he didn't have his hands on the D-rings, and something in him and Georg Fleischhauer loading kicked the sled sideways, boom, hit the wall before turn one. He said after that it was all over. Of course, he limited the damage for silver, but gold had gone. Lee 2300s back, holding that position at the moment, fourth behind Marcus Treichel, head of Mihai Tenteja. Not by much. He's going to be close with Tenteja. If he's not clean through here, I think he might just slip behind. No, second place, wow! 58.63. That's a very good bottom part of the track. Here's how the splits were. A 10th behind at the start, 1900, so that start deficit doubled early on, then 2300s, 1700s, 300s. So he really brought it back. There's a little bit of slipping there. Let's see where he gets in. Catches his knee, so that it's just like that half a second extra of fumbling his way in, and the brakeman's not in either. Sees that the handle's not in, has to sit up again. All that movement moves the sled around. Imagine somebody on the back of a motorcycle or the back of a push bike moving around. It moves the whole thing. And this is on ice. The sleds are heavy, especially with three other guys in, but they do slide around sideways. Seaman Friedli, our narrow leader after the first 5 sleds. Chris Woolley at the nose of our second Swiss sled. Cedric Follodor with Nicola Mariani, Dominic Hufschmidt and Gregory Jones. Greg was on the back of the 2-man sled yesterday when they finished in 6th place. And Cedric 7th and 10th in the 2 races in Beijing. I thought it was an impressive start to the 4-man season for Follodor. 6 flat, not as fast in the getaway either as Seaman Friedli's crew or Mickey Vogt in the 3rd Swiss sled and his crew. And so immediately you're sort of fighting slightly from behind against your teammates. Good speed though, look at that. Top speed of all off the 4th fastest start. So from 900s to only 1400s back, little tail skid there, and again, 1200s back, still best speed, Cedric Follodor, coming back at Seaman Friedli. This is going to be close. He's had better speed than Friedli all the way down. He's got enough now. Second best speed, Friedli wasn't quickest here, Tenteja was. This is going to be the new leader, Cedric Follodor, only a couple of hundreds back. He'll be green at the line, he is, 58.54. Come on, Peter Ramseidel, you can afford a little bit more of a smile there. All right, it's early. It's only 2 of the 3 sleds in the first heat. Let's get it back. That's a good run. Really good driving. Started a 10th behind Friedli, came out, how much in front of him? 600s. So a 10th behind at the start should be 3 tenths behind at the bottom. He wasn't, he was nearly a 10th in front. Oh, blimey. Greg Jones there, aviating. And despite that, he had good speed at the bottom. If he tidies that up, that one mistake probably is worth at least a 10th, maybe 1500s, maybe more down the rest of the run. Now then, here's a man who knows a thing or two about winning and very little about not winning. Francesco Friedrich with Torsten Margis, Alex Schuller and Felix Straub on the back. Now no Torsten Margis, he was in the, beg your pardon, he is there at 2. So no Bowers. So Torsten at 2, Alex at 3. Long-rangey figure of Alex and Felix Straub on the back. 581, here we go. Now we're in the A division of start lineups. We've also got a double 2-man and double 4-man Olympic champion at the helm. 7 times, I beg your pardon, a 2-man world champion, 4 times a 4-man world champion. And Francesco Friedrich has done it all. What he hasn't done so far this season is win, and this is the 3rd 4-man race. We've had 2 2-man, 2 4-man races. He's not been off the podium, but he's not won. He has been off the podium, hasn't he? No, he hasn't. It's still looking a bit wild. It is a bit loose. I mean, he's flying, but he's not got speed. 4400's up on Cedric Follador, but at the line, 42. Didn't add to that down at the bottom. Okay, so. Yeah, I know. It's so hard to count him out, and I never would. You saw Candy Bauer giving a long look at the screen there as he walked away. Well, let's see. Okay, watch the team in action. It's a 5:81 start, a tenth quicker than anybody's managed so far. France is in and down. Torsten waiting for the others to join as he holds himself out of the sled. And then nice lines. He's so aware early on in the run of not giving away that precious start speed that they spend months slaving to produce. Again, that bright smile in the helmet. You can see it as his eyes scrunch up. Okay, so he thought that was good. Question is, how good was it? So let's find out. Next up, Emil Tsipulis. Dav Springs behind him. Mats Miknes, who was on the two-man sled, and Chris Lindenblast. Now, all of these three brakemen are regulars on the back of the two-man sled. Mats Miknes possibly the most regular. There's a great view inside the sled. Look how comfortable that looks. Ice-cold steel and bare carbon fibre. No padding, no seating, no nothing. Get in, get down. Another superbly choreographed load, 588. Fourth and fourth in Beijing. Tantalisingly close to the podium. Denied on both occasions. Fifth in Beijing in the two-man, only 11th here yesterday though. And does that mean that it takes him a while to learn tracks when he's second fastest at the moment? But he's already 2/10 behind Francesco. Fourth best speed. So he's working hard to keep his lines. Hard take on there, bit of a big loop as well. Through 16, don't get to see much of that unfortunately with the shades down. Out of 18, nice and true, up to 19, and then up to the finish line. Across the line, second place, 3900s back, so 300s ahead of Cedric Follador. Well, Francesco Friedrich has got history on this track that few drivers have. Emil Tsipulis definitely not experienced here. It was a pretty nice looking run, nevertheless. Just a tiny little rub there, left on the wrong side of the track. Nevertheless, not bad at all. Well, next up is yesterday's two-man gold medalist. For the first time in his career, Mickey Vogt stood on the top of a two-man podium in the World Cup. 2 fifth places in the four-man in Beijing. Chris Woolley watching the clock there. Mickey Vogt, Oliver Geiger, Andrea Orsinger, relative newcomer to the team, and Sandra Michel on the back. Michel sharing that gold with Mickey Vogt yesterday. They had stunning starts. Running it very long. Still trying to wriggle down into the sled there. Sandra Michel, and they're still wriggling around behind. Somebody did not get their legs in. Now they're all settled. But all of that wriggling around is bumping the sled about, making it slide and slither. It's taking energy out of the sled. Fifth best start, 596, and down to 7th on the splits already. This is not going to be a gold-winning day, I don't think, for Mickey Vogt, unless he proves me dramatically wrong. Best speed of all at the bottom, but he's half a second behind. Now this might be enough to close up on Emil Tsipulis in second. Little tap there, 18 to 19. Third place, but Halfa tied with Cedric Follador. and 300s behind Sapoulis, and 600s ahead of Friedli, his teammate. So big battles going on. 3 Swiss sleds covered by 600s. We're going to see that again, aren't we? That start. That's what it was all about. That's where all the speed went away. So watch here as they get in. Mickey's in. And then, wow, it looks like a taxi bob ride there with Sandro Mikkel at the back. He's got his armpits and his elbows out. Yeah, well, that's Sandro giving his driver a bit of a pat. He'll be better in the second heat, but you can't afford mistakes at this level. Johannes Lochner, Florian Bauer, Eric Bruckert and Georg Fleischauer. 2 wins in the 4-man in Beijing and a win in the 2-man. He should have won yesterday, but a little error with the load somewhere between Hansi and Georg in the 2-man put them into the wall at the beginning of the second heat, and that denied them a gold medal. They took silver nevertheless. So he is our points leader in both 2-man and 4-man at the moment, Hansi. And they're in and down, nice and neat and tidy. 584, great start, only 300s behind Francesco Friedrich, and that's all he needs. Lochner is driving so well at the moment. Silver medalist in the Olympic Games. He had a great season last year. He's having a great start to this year as well. 1100s back. But as we saw, Francesco Friedrich lost speed lower down the track, which is so unlike him. Not liking that speed number on the left-hand side for France. That's a kilometre an hour down on Mickey Vogt, who is the fastest of all. Quicker even than Friedrich. Second on the splits, but the gap is growing. You can't give Friedrich a 10th, never mind 2 or 3. And Hansi Lochner is not going to lead this heat. 3/10 back, where he limited the damage at the bottom. In the last 300 or 400 metres, lost nothing at all to Friedrich, but he didn't get anything back. So 584, good getaway. I don't know what runner choice they made, how they've set the sled. It looked relatively neat and tidy. Let's take a look at this trans. Oh, they're offline there, and little clip on the left. Made the take on a bit more abrupt, so all that sled weight goes oosh into the corner, digs into the ice. One more to go to see where he ends up at the moment. It is Francesco Friedrich, the winner here in 2020, ahead of Johannes Lochner and Emil Tsoupulis. Well, 10 sleds down and 7 to go in the first of our 2 heats here in Laplagne. Next up is Jakobs Kalender for Latvia, Agus Ungus, Davs Kaufmans and Mars Klaver, the youngster on the back of the sled. 11th and 9th in the 2 4-man races in Beijing. Then 10th in the 2-man there. 16th yesterday in a field of 19 sleds. He did not have a fun time yesterday. Let's see if it goes a little better today. Another neat and tidy load, 597. So giving 1800s away to the leader, or 1600s away to the leader at the start. Nice and tidy in this quiet upper section. Through 9 and 10. A flop on the exit. So many sleds whip up high into 12 there. He managed to avoid that. To 14, 15. And big corner 16, up and down. Exit was pretty straight. 9th best speed, 10th on the splits. Maybe working a little too hard on the steering. 58.86. Again, when you don't know the track, very hard to time it right. Seventh best start, 11th at the bottom. Last time we were here in the World Cup, Oskars Kibermanis took the bronze for Latvia behind Francesco Friedrich, the winner, and Hansi Lochner, who was second. We still have Friedrich and Lochner first and second, with Latvia's Emil Supoulis in third. Jakob's calendar hanging out at the back of the pack, 400s behind Mihai Tentea, and rattled the wall there. That's the 9 to 10 transition. That's the least comfortable I think we've seen so far. Sun Kai-chi of China, bronze medalist in the first four-man race in Beijing, then took 6th in the second. He was 11th and 15th in the two-man races so far this season. Again, no knowledge of this track. So Ding Song, Yi Jilong and Cheng Heng, who was on the back of the two-man sled yesterday, they need to give him as good a start as he can. He's going to have to scramble his way down here. 6 flat. Out of 2, little slight curves here till you get to corner 4. It's the only one that you sort of drive on and off. The others are just up and down, up and down. Corner 5's the same. And then 6, another 180-degree turn, little flick 7 and 8, then whipping through 9 and into 10. Trying to control the pressure. This is high G on and off for the brakemen as well. They're all bent double in there, and it's G off, G's off, G's off. Doesn't build gradually, just comes hard on and goes hard off again. Down at the bottom, 8200s back. Behind Jakob's calendar. And he's going to be 12th at the line, 9600s back. So 2200s behind calendar. So his battle, I sense, will be with his teammate Lee Chun-jan, but Lee is nearly half a second up the road. So I'm diving off there, keeps it sled left. That means real hard take on there. They didn't get bumped up in the air as you do if you get on too early, but early and late, they're both about the same. Late here from 9 on to 10. That big compression as the left front runner really hits that filleting of the corner hard. Now, we talked yesterday about brothers with the Amor brothers. We don't have brothers in this sled. Adam Debesh and Michal Debesh, who is his two-man brakeman, are not related. And in the four-man, he's got Lubos Kopriva, Dalibor Havekla, and Andre Rupp. Oh, we've had a late change of brakeman. That's not, I beg your pardon, I am looking at Adam Amor. Get myself all over the place. Adam Amor, not with Issam Amor. I did ask yesterday, can't remember brothers racing in World Cup in my time. Lee Johnson reminded me that he and his brother Carl raced together in very much in my time. Sorry, Lee. 584. Adam and Issam Amor in the World Cup action yesterday had a very good run to 5th place. His first race of the season, Adam, as they didn't go to Beijing. Bertel Henedict behind him, Nick Stadman and Rupert Schenk. And this is the 3rd crew for Germany at the moment. 7th best speed, 3rd place run. I'll talk more about brothers in a little minute, because this is worth watching. 2600s back, this is very good. This is going to mean a German 1, 2, 3 at the bottom. Francesco Friedrich is still going to lead, but right now Adam Amor is going to be in second ahead of Johannes Lochner. He is in second ahead of Johannes Lochner by 0.04 of a second. There's Issam, his older brother. 58-38. Christoph Hafer, who was the German number 3 over the last couple of seasons, has not made the World Cup team this season. Not so far anyway. And Adam Amor getting the nod, and he is producing the goods. So more about brothers. I got a little message after the show yesterday from Rainer Jacobus. A story told to him by Walter Delicart. one of a couple of Austrian sliding brothers, about the 1962 World Championship bronze medal winning crew for Austria, 4 Issa brothers in the 4-man. Okay, it's going to be a while before we do that again, isn't it? Okay, back to the current day. Adam Dobesh, as I said, Michal Dobesh, not on the sled. He was in the 2-man yesterday, not related. Share the same name, but that's as far as it goes, they think. Lubos Kopriva, Dalibor Haverka, and Andre Rapp. Adam Amor and Issam Amor definitely are related, though. Issam, 30 years old, the older of the two. And Adam Amor making his second World Cup start yesterday in the 2-man. Yesterday was also the first World Cup race of the season for the Czech Republic crew. They didn't go to Beijing, they raced in the Europa Cup. Little sideways load there from Andre Rapp to get the right-hand push bar in. Left-hand one wasn't playing ball, so he had to move for that again. He started 6:14, so 3/10 down on Adam Amor. Right now, 14th best start, 14th position. Let's see if he can drive himself a little further up the order. Only had 2 full seasons, little skid, 2 full seasons of driving, really, Adam Dobesh. This is his 3rd year, and again, big tail end skid there. Oh, and a clatter on the wall, this comes off 16. Showing just how hard this track really is, actually. Adam Amor made it look like we're in Innsbruck, we aren't. 14th at the line, 10th best speed down at the bottom though, so he's doing a lot right. 59.44. It'll take a moment or two to get out of the sled. Nobody's got any breath by the time they get to the bottom. It's a pretty harsh ride, as you can see. And they've been busting a gut at the top to try and blow this sled off the line as fast as they can. And then at 1,800 meters, there's not much oxygen in the air. So 3 more sleds to go, all of whom making their first appearance in the World Cup this season, in the 4-man at least. Mattia Variola, the Italians, also didn't go to Beijing. 18th place yesterday in the 2-man race. Jose Abul, Fabio Batti, who was on the back of the 2-man sled, and Riccardo Ragazzi is the brakeman. 6:06. And if regular fans are wondering where on earth is Brad Hall and the British crew, well, the answer is they are in Eagles. Brad had injury in the summer that's taken a while to recover from. In fact, they've all been a little bit crook, so they've all had various injury niggles to get over. If they are in Innsbruck, they should be racing next week. So World Championship medalists will all be complete in the field, assuming nothing happens to Friedrich and Lochner anyway. And Sapoulis, oh, big hit and a huge skid for Mattia Variola. It's the first time we've seen that one. First time for everything. 10th best speed again at the bottom despite that. Oh, monster drift off 18. The nose is going entirely in the wrong direction. The rear runner's getting sideways. Not what he wanted. He's ahead of Adam Dobesh, but not ahead of Sun Kai-chi. I'm sure you would have had that as a target. 59.38. So 600s ahead of Adam Dobesh. Now take a look at this. Boom. Hits the wall off 9. And basically bypasses the entry to 10, sort of catches up with corner 10 in the middle there, and then flies off the end of it. This is out of 18. Good, good, good. Not good. Tail's going away, and that's pushing the nose over to the right. He takes a tap there when he wants to be over to the left.
I don't know, in the middle of the corner instead of buttons.
Manny Mahata with all the information. Francesco Friedrich leads, 2 to go in the first heat. Second of our sleds from the Czech Republic is that of Dominik Dvořák. Michal Dobeš at 2 on Dominik's sled with David Bureš and Dominik Zaleski. Zaleski was in the back of the 2-man sled yesterday, so he's doing double duty this weekend again, as they did in triple duty in Beijing. Trying to remember if Dominik did all 3 races. Seems very likely. Doesn't like to be left out. In and down. That's a neat load. 596. So right in the middle of the pack. 7th best start for the team from the Czech Republic. Drifts a little to the driver's right, but that was close and clean through 3. Out of corner 4. Through this lower labyrinth. 6 rather, so that's down to corner 10. Out of 12. This is where you start to lose time. That hard take onto 15. Corner 16. It'll rattle out of 16. Got to be clean out of 18. He's not quite. Late flop. Where's this going to put him? Outside the top 12, 13th place. Well, teammate Adam Dobeš is 16th, so he has at least preserved the integrity as being Czech #1 driver. So Dvořák, 2200s away from 12th place Jakob's calendar, 2400s. No, 1800s from calendar, 2200s away from 11th place. Quite a long way to a top 10. And there's the late flop out of 18. You see how much it rattles all the bodies around. That's all energy going in the wrong direction. So final sled in the first heat, Frank Del Duca, with Josh Williamson, Manuel Mitchell at 3, and Darius Joseph at 4. Had a great day, yes, I mean, not just good, not just great, really great day yesterday. In the top 3 after the first heat, was edged out to 4th place in the 2-man race. But for a driver who's A, new to driving, relatively new, and B, never been here before, that was an epic start to his season. 6:02 getaway. This distinctive US-built sled. They've got a new sled in development, I gather. Makes a very different noise to a lot of the others, but very different shape, much more square-on sled, with a wider opening to allow for fewer mistakes from the athletes getting in. 14th at the start, up to 13th on the splits. Oh, big height! Looped up there. Out of 16 straight. Oh, big skid out of 18, hits the wall. He was on target for a top 10 finish. 11th place. That's a good run from Frank Del Duca. Only 300s out of 10th, 800s out of 9th. He's 2 tenths away from 7th. 2600s, quarter of a second away from the top 4. That's a good run. That's big height in, big height in 6, isn't it? Crikey O'Reilly. And then look at that. Oh, all the height, all the height, all the height. Got on late onto 10. It whipped up, down and up again before he managed to get it all under control. Again off 18, again late. The track coming at him at places he wasn't expecting it to, at speed maybe he wasn't expecting it to. Tough in the tour helping with the sled.
Thanks guys, thanks for watching.
Hey listen, thanks for coming. Without athletes turning up, we've got nothing to talk about. not much anyway. Francesco Friedrich leads after the first heat. Is normal service finally about to be resumed? 4 races into the World Cup season in 2 and 4 man, he has not yet won. It would take me a while to go back and find when that's happened before, certainly not recently. So Friedrich leads the 3rd race of the 4-man World Cup. Adam Amour in 2nd, ahead of Johannes Lochner, the 2-time winner so far this season. Emma Sapoulis hovering with intent. And what about Follador and Vogt and Friedli and Lee for that matter? So that group from Sapoulis down to Lee, expect shuffling of that pack. Nobody really knows this track well, apart from Friedrich and Lochner really. And Frank Del Duca, top 10 possible here? Yes, you would have to say, I think that is very likely. Last race here, Hunter Church took 6th with Josh Williamson on the sled, along with James Reed and Kyle Wilcox. Brad Hall was in 8th place. Well, that's it for the first heat. Don't forget you can join us for the 2nd and deciding heat in a little under an hour's time. So we'll be back at 1500 local, 1400 GMT, 0700 Eastern. We'll see you then. And until then, let's just say happy birthday, John Morgan, from all of us here to all of you there in Lake Placid. Bon anniversaire.